Happy Friday, everyone. We all made it through the work week. Thank you, Jesus. Thank you, God. Why is millennials and Gen Z are waiting to get married later on in life? Later in life, excuse me. And also, should men, when they take a woman out, should they split the bill on the first date? Let's get right into it and welcome back everyone to That's It. Okay, you guys. So yes, millennials and Gen Z, they are waiting later to get married. They're not in a rush to get married like how it was back in the days, like when you just graduated from high school and you just get married right away and have, you know, 10.5 children or 8.5 children and then be a housewife and then your husband is the breadwinner and he's the one that's making the money while you taking care of the household and the children. And time has changed, you guys. Time has changed. We're living in a different time right now that we can't do that. Well, the millennials and the Gen Z can't do that because and I don't want to put words in anyone's mouth, but I'm just believing that at that age, in your 20s, that they're not thinking about, settling down and starting a family. Thinking about, going to college, what they're trying to major in college, and having fun and partying and stuff like that. It's not like how it was like before when, most women or men, depending on the guy, that, once you graduate from high school or college, you settle down, you get married, you start a family, and then you live, you live life. But now these days, it's not like that because it's just so hard now. You know what I mean? You need two family incomes opposed to one. Like back in the day, one could just take care of everything. And then, when you have like, people in South Africa, when they have multiple families and they live in a hut or they live, not like a luxurious, glorious, apartment. They manage, especially people back in the day, they manage too. And I commend them. I don't know how they do it because now it's just so hard. It's just so hard that you need two family income, just to survive and to take care of a child. Imagine having two or three. Not saying that having a child is not a blessing. It's definitely a blessing from God. But I've been noticing with a lot of Gen Zs and millennials, they're waiting. They're not rushing to, get married anytime soon or to start a family. And there's a lot of reasons why. And I'm going to break it down to you why. And I pulled this article up why some of these Gen Zs are not getting married and compared to how it was back in the day. And it says younger generations are settling down at a much older age than what was commonplace in the past. Research suggests that getting married in your younger early 20s was the norm in the mid 1900s. Now, millennials, a cohort of people who born between 1981 and 1996, and Gen Zs, those who are birth date from 1997 to 2012, are waiting until their late 20s and early 30s to say I do. And I tend to agree with that because let's be clear here. Who wants to get married and settle down? You know what I mean? I just feel like one, it's hard to date these days. You know what I mean? And before I continue, I just want to circle back to my last video that I did yesterday about, how do you know when to leave a relationship? And I forgot to touch on a very, very important thing. I didn't mention that if there's children involved, whether you're married or you are in a long-term relationship with someone and there's kids involved. Now, I'm not saying to leave a relationship, you know, when children are involved, but you have to ask yourself, children are very smart, not religion, but with not relentless, but they can pick up things. They can pick up things so easily, and when they see, mother and father, when there's tension or when there's some type of thing, they're very smart, very resilient, and they can pick up things. And you have to ask yourself, do you want to stay in a relationship because of the children, because you just want to spare your kids, because you don't want to have a two broken home, and you just want to be together, but then at the same token that you're miserable, and then that's affecting your children as well, even though you don't see it or you don't recognize it, or maybe you just want to avoid it and not recognize that it's hurting your child, that you're letting your children know that that's okay to be in an unhealthy relationship, that knowing that mommy's not happy. When mommy's not happy, the household's not happy, okay? And mommy can't take care of things in the household and take care of the children if, if their significant other, their husband or boyfriend are not making the mother happy, because that's the most important thing, is making the moms happy. And what I'm saying is, you have to ask yourself, like really ask yourself, like, can I really stay in a relationship with this particular person when this person's not giving me what I need, what I want, to feel safe, to feel secure? And then I'm letting my children see this and allowing to see my children, telling my children that that's okay. Like that's the new norm, to be in a relationship, even though you're not happy, even though you're just settling. So I just wanted to point that out because I forgot to mention that yesterday's video, that it's super important, especially when kids are involved. Like I'm saying, I'm not saying to leave your relationship. I'm just asking you to think and ask yourself, that is it worth staying in a relationship just for the sake of your kids, because you just don't want to break up your family, and you rather just sacrifice your happiness and your well-being and your wellness because you just don't want your kids to be unhappy, which it's hurting your kids. You know what I mean? You may not see it, but in a long haul, excuse me, it may affect your child, and you don't want that. You don't want your children to think that that's okay, and then they can do it in their relationship when they're much older, when it's not. We have to teach our child, you know, the values of a relationship, the respect and the love, and how relationship works, and not how we want it to think that it will benefit us, if that makes sense. So I just wanted to point that out and mention it because I forgot to mention it yesterday's video. Now back to this. Like I was saying, a lot of a lot of young women and men in their 20s, they're not thinking about marriage, okay? Especially getting out of high school, graduating, and then going to college. All they're thinking about is partying, having fun, trying to figure out what they want to do with their life, what kind of career. The last thing they're thinking about is settling down. I'm just sorry, especially now, these days, and how the world is and how everything is just so freaking expensive. That's the last thing they're thinking about, is settling down. And on top of that, it's just hard these days, like to date, to find someone that's compatible, to find someone that fits your standards, meaning that wants the same thing that you want, meaning that they are driven, like work driven. They have the same belief as you. That's super important, especially if you're going to raise a child into the world. You want to make sure that you have the same values, the same belief. What else? Make sure they have that head on their shoulder. Make sure they come from a good family, that they're family oriented, that they are not mass murderers or anything. You get what I'm saying. That's super important, and also to save yourself too for marriage, because I just feel like you just don't want to sleep around and trying to figure out to, what's the word, just as not spread the seeds. Help me out, guys. I'm just trying to figure out the word, what to say. To experience. You know what I mean? I feel like, in my opinion, that you should save yourself for marriage. You should save yourself for the right person instead of like playing the field. That's the word I was trying to come out. Play the field. Now, I'm not saying what to do. I'm not telling you what to do, because I wasn't perfect myself. I did not save myself for marriage. Looking back, I wish I did. It would have saved me a lot of heartache and a lot of pain and headaches, to be honest with you. But you live and you learn. But my thing is, for me, when I was in my 20s or teens, the last thing I was thinking about was marriage. I'm just going to be real. The last thing I was thinking about was marriage and try to settle down. I had strict parents. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything but school and work, and that's it. I couldn't do the normal things that normal teenagers would do, that most parents would give their teenager daughter or son a little leeway, a little bit of freedom. not my parents. I had to wait until I was 18, and then once I was 18, I was free. Even though I was living at my parents' house still, but meaning free, I was legal. And I just wanted to enjoy life. I wanted to experience things, go out, party, drink, do all these type of things that I couldn't have, that, that I couldn't do when I was like, 16, 17, those age. But what I'm saying is, for me, and I can speak to other, people that were in their 20s, the last thing they're thinking about is to get married. You know what I mean? I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do as far as career goes, and make sure that I was like financially good and ready. And on top of that, I was my mindset was not ready to take care of another human being, which when on top of that I'm trying to take care of myself, one, and try to figure myself out. You know what I mean? How can you be a good mother and if you're learning more about yourself? Now I know a lot of people say, well, it depends on, not depends, you should meet the right person, make sure, that you have your mindset and everything. And you have to keep in mind, everyone doesn't think the same like I do or like other people do. Some people are more mature than others. It all depends on the person. Some people are just not ready yet. For me, I was just truthful and honest within myself, and I just knew that I was just not ready to get married. I was not ready to settle down. I was not ready to have a baby because I was just young. I wanted to have fun. I wanted to enjoy myself. I needed to figure out life and figure out myself before I was mentally, physically, and prepared to get married. And I feel like now people are waiting. People are waiting until their 20s and their 30s because right now they're not even thinking about that right now. Especially in this economy, how the economy is trying to get better. It's just too damn expensive. It really is. And on top of that, the next article says, according to the Pew Research Center, in the 1980s, 33% of adults were married by the age of 21, and 66% were married by 25 years old, which I believe. And then more than 40 years later, those statistics have dropped to 6% and 22% respectively. Across the board, getting married younger was typical per U.S. data. Average American males tied a knot at age 25 in 1980, while the average American female did so at 22. I believe that as well. Now the average of marriage for males is 30. I definitely believe that. A lot of males right now in their 20s, they're 20, 25, 26, they're not getting married, okay? Women are more mature than men. Men are not really that mature. Again, it depends on the man. You have some men they're 25. They're very mature. They know what they want. They're driven, focused. They're ready to get married and settle down. You have another 25-year-old who's not ready to settle down. It all depends who you come across with. Same thing with women too. It all depends. Some know what they want. Some are just not ready yet. 30 years old for males, and then 20 years old for females. I get that, and the reason why there's a lot of setbacks why people are not getting married is just financial dependence, dependency. Is it dependence? Dependence, excuse me. Financial dependence. It's expensive to raise a child. It's expensive overall. Rent, you have, your bills, student loans, it could take, it's physically could be emotionally, I wouldn't say draining, but exhausting. You know what I mean? Because you have to be ready mentally, physically, spiritually for all that, because that's taking care of another life. That's another responsibility. And most people, they just want to wait because they want to have a career. Now, is it possible that you can have both? It is. If you work hard and you put your mind to it, you can have both. You can have a career and have a family at the same time. But at the same token, it's all about finding and meeting the right person. Because like I said in my last video yesterday, it's hard dating. It's hard finding someone who wants the same goals as you and that have the same values as you. It's really hard to do that. So that's why most women are waiting to settle down because they're more focused on their career, making sure they have their financially they're financially stable, and making sure that everything is good before they even settle down to raise a family or get married. And I can understand that at that aspect too, because like I said, it's hard to date. It's hard to find someone on your level who wants the same thing as you do. Most men are just want to like, get laid and have fun, and that's it. They're not looking to settle down. I read it in the article. Most men are ready to settle down in their 30s, sometimes in their 40s, maybe in their 50s, or maybe they're just not ready to get settled down at all. That's why it's super important to wait before marriage and not give up the cookie right away. You know what I mean? Because once you give up the cookie, there's no excitement for the man to chase you or to have any type of interest. That's why it's super important to wait before marriage and not have sex, just to court. Super important. And I if I have a daughter, I want to raise my daughter to be like that. If she finds someone interested or someone that she like, you go to court my daughter. You're not going to just get what you want from my daughter and then just see someone else. No, that's not happening, and that's not how I'm going to raise my children anyway. If I have a son too, be respectful. You're going to wait until marriage. You're not going to do anything like that. And I think that's super important to do. Now, a lot of people may disagree with me that you should get married right away. You should get married young. But again, it's not like how it was back in the day. You know what I mean? When you can just get married and have 3 or 4 or 5 or 10 children, and you have a husband who's the breadwinner that takes care of everything. Things has changed over a decade. You know what I mean? It's not how it used to be. You need a 2-family income unless you are a billionaire or you come from money or you have a good job that you can have a staying-home wife that can take care of the household and take care of the kids. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes women don't have that luxury that they have to work. They have to provide as well because, like I said, things are expensive, including having a child. And imagine if you had multiple children. And like I said, children are a gift from God. It's a blessing to have children. But I understand the aspect why some of the millennials and Gen Z are waiting. I wouldn't suggest to wait too long, but again, it's hard to put yourself out there, meaning to go and date, because you need to find someone that's compatible with you. You need to find someone that's going to be in the same level with you and wants the same goals and same aspirations and everything that you're looking for in a man or a woman. And it's not easy. It's not. And like I said, some people settle, which I believe that you should not settle for anything. If you know what you want, if you know what you're looking for a man and a woman, you let the person know up front. Don't waste any time. Don't bullshit them around. Let them know. And I think that's very honest and very what's the word? I can't even think of the word, but it's very I can't think of it. I just feel like it's just very genuine that you let the person know what you want and what you're looking for, and you're not wasting their time. You're not bullshitting them. Now it may scare people off, but at least you're honest, and you're not, and then they're not, giving you the runaround. That's my take on it. And again, like I said, it's just I don't know. Is it a culture thing? I don't know. Maybe it's the culture thing. I don't know. I waited. You know what I mean? I just didn't have a kid by anyone. And look at me. My husband and I, we've been trying for 5 years to get pregnant. But I don't regret it though, because I didn't want to get married with anyone or just settle down because society tells me that I have to, because society is saying that, oh, you should get married right away after graduating from high school or college, and not figure yourself out first, not to get an education. It's super to get an education, but I wanted to figure myself out. I want to make sure that I was financially good so I can take care of someone so I don't struggle like how my parents struggle with me and my sisters. You know what I mean? And some people got it good that they didn't have to struggle, that they get married straight out of high school or college and they were good. And some are just unfortunate they're a single parent home, and then they had to take care of everything because they didn't have their person to help them out. And for me, I didn't want to deal with that. I didn't want to deal with the headache. I didn't want to have that baby daddy drama or be a single mother and just doing everything. That's why I waited. That's why I did what I did, meaning like going out, partying, experiencing life. And I feel like that's super important to get that out of your system. So then when you do find the right person that you fall in love with and you get married and then you set vows to one another from to God and family, and then you start that family, then you're good. You know what I mean? Because you're financially good. You have that good husband that's with you, and then you can start a family. Opposed to getting married at a young age and then struggling and then figuring things out as long figure things out as they go, and then you're unhappy, miserable, struggling, living paycheck by paycheck, and then you end up divorced. Single parent, two separate households, and then what? You know what I mean? So it it's like a give or take. No, it's not a give or take. I take that back. It's not a give or take. It's just prioritizing what you want. And I feel like it's okay to wait a little bit. I don't think that it's necessary to get married at the age of 21 or 22 because you're still learning, you're still figuring yourself out. I don't feel like it should be an obligation to get married so young. You know what I mean? I don't see anything wrong waiting until I'm just going to throw it out there, like 25, 26. As long as you're mature, as long as you're ready, and as long as the person that you're dating is ready to get married and you're both on the same page, then why not? You know what I mean? But if you're not ready, don't force yourself. You know what I mean? And especially marry someone that fits your standards, that fits your needs, and that you both are committed to one another, and that you both are on the same page. That's super important. Just don't just get married because it seems so cool to get married and stuff like that, or you want a tax bracket or whatever. I don't know why people get married. So people should get married for love, to settle down, to start a family, not for just because of, I don't know why people get married. Some people get married for tax brackets. Some people get married for a lot of different reasons. Okay, and I don't agree with it, but to each his own. Now, I want to talk about first dates. Now, I want to ask you: do you think that men should pay on the first date when they take a woman out to eat or anything? And my answer is yes, they should. And some males may disagree, and I know a majority of women are going to agree with me on this, that men should pay on the first date. Why not? If you take a woman out and you think that she is a potential for you, meaning that she may be the one, or you like her, I don't think there's anything wrong, paying on a first date. Why would you want a woman to split the check? I think that's just so embarrassing. It's just tacky. It's just disgusting. I wouldn't say it's disgusting. Let me take that. I just feel like it's just tacky and tacky around. Like, if you're going to do that, then why take her out on a date in the first place? You know what I mean? Unless it's just a buddy of yours. If you two are friends and then you guys just hanging out, then that's one thing. Okay, split the meal, split the check. But if it's a date, I don't think a woman should pay. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that a man should go like crazy when they take a woman out on a first date, but you should pay. I think that's the right thing to do, the respectful thing to do, instead of being cheap and having her split the bill. And the thing is, if you wanted her to split the bill, then you had no business taking her out or asking her out on a date if you know you can't afford it. You get what I'm saying? If you know you can't afford it, then you shouldn't be asking a woman out on a date. Point blank, period. You know what I mean? And I like this video of Charlie Kirk, and I love Charlie Kirk. Most of the time, what he's saying, I agree with, because I just love his values and what he stands for and what he talks about. And I don't know if this is his podcast, but someone sent this to me because I was having a discussion about, dating and marriage, and about, millennials and Gen Z, and how the dating world is now, because I've been out of the game for a very long time because, I'm married. And I just asked one of my, this coworker of mine how it is in the dating world. And she said, it's awful. It's the worst. I'm like, hot damn. I'm like, I told her, I get it. I get it, because I've been there. When I was single, I've been there. It was bad. But she said, Cheryl, it is worse than ever. I'm like, holy smoke. Thank God. Thank God I am married and I'm no longer single, because I can relate. Because in my experience, it was bad. But she said it is worse. Worse than ever. So then she sent me this link of Charlie Kirk, and then when I watched it, I'm like, oh my gosh, like yeah, I agree with him 100%. I absolutely agree with him 100%. Men should date. I mean, date. Men should pay on the first date. Period. It's just to me, when a man do that, that lets me know you're a provider. That you're going to provide. You're going to take care. I know that you got this, and women wants to see that. You know what I mean? Like we want to see that. Okay, he got this, so that tells me that okay. Then if he got this, then I know that I'm in good hands, meaning that he's a good provider. Okay, and that's you know what I mean, and that's what us women are that's single are looking for. You know what I mean? We're not looking for to split the check. You know what I mean? Like what the hell? If that's the case, then we can just go out to eat by ourselves or with a group of friends. Like I said, if it's a group of friends and you guys are going out to eat, that's one thing. But if it's a date and a man is asking you on a date, then he should pay for the check, not the other way around. Okay, and then I know most men they try to use that game because I done it before to see if the woman's going to pay. Like if the woman offers pull out her wallet to see, and most men want to see that just to test her to see if she's willing to pay half, and then the men said no 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 I got this because I done that before. I'm not gonna lie to you, I done that before because I just wanted to see. You know, I pull out my wallet and I handed my card, and then the guy that I was dating, he said he got this. I'm like, okay, okay, good. When I was dating my husband, he paid for most of the dates that we have. I didn't even have to pull out my wallet. He paid, and rightfully so. He opened the door for me in our beginning of our dating. You know what I mean? I don't know if men do that now, you know, because this is the new times that we're living in. If they open doors for women, but I know when I was dating my husband, he did that. I'm like, oh, how sweet, what a gentleman. You know what I mean? And he paid for most of the things. And then next when we got serious and when we were just exclusive, then I paid some of it. You know, because it was just me and him. We were not dating anyone else, and that's how it should be. I feel like men should pay on the first date. But I'm gonna let you listen to Charlie Kirk and what he had to say with the two gentlemen, and I don't know their names. Like I said, one of my coworkers sent me this video clip of Charlie Kirk talking to these two gentlemen about paying on the first date. So take a listen to what he has to say. There we go. There we go.
Women they want to be taken care of. I know this is like super provocative, but like deep down, they want a man to be able to provide for them financially.
Should a man pay on the first date?
100%. Like, what kind of a wuss beta male is splitting the check? Like, who are you? It's like, I'm just sorry. It's so. I would go into debt and like scrub dishes before a woman pays.
I split the check quite a lot.
So I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you. You guys are great. That's incomprehensible to me.
Thank you.
To me, I thought it was a great financial decision.
Great financial decision, really? Then you shouldn't be going on a date. To me, you're cheap. I'm sorry, you're a cheapo. If you knew that you're not financially there and you're struggling with your money, then you have no business taking a woman out to eat. You have no business doing that. So I disagree with him. I love the response that Charlie Kirk said, and he is absolutely 1,000% right.
Okay, so from your prism, I totally get that, and like you have really good financial discipline. I'm sorry, like I would be so humiliated.
Thank you.
I
find that to be like the greatest beta male like humiliation.
To save money?
To like the idea that a woman that you're trying to court. Now, if it's like a friend thing or
as a first date, you don't even know if she's like the quality.
Doesn't matter. Thank you.
I'm sorry. By the way, that money you save is not worth the honor that you compromise.
It's such a big deal.
It's a massive deal.
Thank you. I agree. It's a big deal. Like, again, if you planning on courting with that person, then why have her pay? You get what I'm saying? Doesn't matter if it's the first date or the second date. And if you know you're not financially there to pay, then you have no business going out. You have no business going out. And to me, you're cheapo. You're a cheapo. You're a cheap person that you want to split the bill. you know, and I agree with Charlie Kirk. This is a second clip of this video of Charlie Kirk saying about how young women, you know, should settle down and get married, like what I just talked about. That in his opinion, that you know that young women should not be focusing on career, and they should be more focused on getting married and you know having children. And like I said, I agree and I disagree, if that makes sense. Like obviously, you know, if you find the right one and then the person wants the same thing that you want, family, um, marriage, you know, having God in your marriage and your relationship, and you're both on the same page, and you both feel like you're ready, even though you're not financially ready, but you are ready, then why not go for it? You know what I mean? But again, it's just so hard these days how it is now when some people are just not financially ready yet. They're not financially set yet, and on top of that, they're still trying to figure out what career they want to do in their life. You know what I mean? It's just hard now these days. It's not. They make it seem like it's so simple, but it's not. It's not like how it was in the 1900s or many years ago. How our parents did it, and their parents did it, and their great parents did it. Yes, it was hard, and they managed to do it, but it's just such a different time now. You know what I mean? That people are just not eager to get married and settle down and have a family right away. They're just not. They're just trying to figure out where their life is, where they're going with their life, and what their purpose is. You know what I mean? But I do agree, you know, with Charlie Kirk. Yes, women should get married and have children. But again, it all depends on the person. You know what I mean? It all depends on the person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. It's not that easy how it is, especially in this world that we're living in now. It's not that easy to date like it used to be. But take a listen to the second video.
I think that we've gone wrong here, that women should prioritize family and children way above career, that they should try to find their husband before they're 25, that they should try to get married way younger. This is probably the fertility
But then that
problem.
also goes back to just finances.
No, that's
you can't quite
totally
have a husband going out making a salary to have a stay-at-home.
I completely agree with that. That's the best argument. It's not a winner argument, but it's the best argument. Because at some point, you go to like sub-Saharan Africa, they have like 8 kids and they live in like a dirt hut. You can figure it out. Having children, I believe, is a blessing from the Lord. It's the most amazing thing. You should try to have as many children as you can. Much more important than traveling to Thailand or having a big apartment or a bunch of cats. Okay? Having children are a gift from the Lord.
Amen.
So, but as far as like the dating pool problem, so young ladies, they need to be very clear about what they're expecting in a man and date with the intent to marry and not just date to, you know, have a good time. And quite honestly,
I agree.
Both need to do this, but young women need to do a much better job of saving themselves for marriage.
Yes.
They need to be they need to prioritize purity again. Young men need to too, but if young women do it, then young men will.
So if that's what the women need to do in order to make themselves worthy of dating,
yes.
What do you think is the main thing men need to do to make themselves worthy?
The most attractive quality in a young man that young women can't ever articulate is self-control.
So how does this look in application?
A woman needs to be able to know that you can control your impulses when things get really crazy. They can't articulate it, but that's what they want. So, for example, they want to be able, when you go on a date, can you control your mouth? Can you control your tongue? Can you control your eye? Are you going to cheat on her? Are you going to have a wandering eye? Are you going to get drunk every night? Are you going to kind of go into like a drug, abyss? Women can't always put that into words, but that differentiates a boy from a man.
I agree. I totally agree with everything that he said. The only thing I just want to elaborate on, that it's hard to find someone that wants the same thing as you want. It's hard to find someone that's on the same page with you. You know what I mean? So I agree with Charlie Kirk, everything that he said. Women should wait before marriage. They should not just give the goods for free. You know what I mean? If a man really likes you and feels that you're the one, that he feels like that he wants to spend the rest of his life with you, he will wait. You will wait. You will court and you will wait until marriage. It's a beautiful thing to wait. And if he doesn't want to wait, then he's not for you. And then you just continue finding someone else. But it is hard out there that, to find someone who wants the same level as you, the person who wants the same thing and the same goals as you. It's really difficult and it's very hard. That I can say, because most men, they don't want the same things that you want. You know what I mean? They just want to. They're looking for a good time and to get what they want and just to leave. And half the time, most men, they don't want to settle down. They really don't. They just want to have their cake and eat it too. That's the majority of them. I'm not saying all of them, but majority of them. So it's for us women, it's very difficult. You know what I mean? It's very hard. But I do agree with Charlie that women should wait. They should, save themselves for marriage and not give in. And men should have self control too and not give in either. And watch their tongue, watch what they're saying, not having flirtations wandering around. You can stare, you can look. We're all human. That's human nature to look, but not make it obvious like you're like drooling on the person that you think is hot or attractive. You know what I mean? Especially in front of someone that you're dating or courting. That's just disrespectful and not nice. But I agree. You know what I mean? And it's just different now. We're in a different time and different days right now, and I can't even imagine how it is now dating. It's just freaking hard. It is freaking hard, especially you want to fall in love and settle down and get married when you're ready. Obviously, when the person is ready and you're both on the same page that you want to take the next step, the next chapter in your life. To get married and start a family, but it is hard. But it's not easy like how it was. You know what I mean? Men are just different, and women too. I'm not gonna just put it on men. Majority of them, it all depends who you meet and who wants the same thing as you want, the same values and the same goals, and like I said, aspirations, and spend the rest of your life with that person and so forth. It all depends who you meet and who you attract to, So, like I said, it's a scary world out there. It really is, and just if you do meet someone, ask questions. There's nothing wrong asking questions, and if they find it weird, then you're the weirdo. You know what I mean? Don't make it seem like you can't ask questions to ask the person what they want and what they're looking for in a relationship and what their goals are. But it's super important as well, to get a good education to make sure that you mentally, physically are set and ready to start a family, because it's not easy. It's a hard thing. Just like anything in life, it's hard. But you wanna be okay. I'm not saying to try to get rich or be famous or none of that stuff, but you want to make sure that you're good. You know what I mean? Mentally, spiritually, financially, everything. And I know most women, they put their careers first, and then they want to have that career. They want to make sure that everything's good. They want to make sure they're not in debt, and before they start a family, because again, children are expensive. Diapers, formulas, taking them to the doctor's appointments, clothes, everything. It's just expensive all year long. So I get why women want to wait, but you don't want to wait too long, because again, our biological clock is ticking. And the more time, the more we age, the more it decrease our eggs and stuff like that. Men, they can have babies until the end of time, until the Lord takes them home. For us women, it's a different thing. When we get older, our eggs get older. When we, have our menstrual cycle, our eggs get decrease. And then the more time you wait when you're in your 40s, then it decreases. Speaking from experience with me, that my husband and I are trying to get pregnant, and I'm in my 40s, and it's been a struggle. Not saying that I regret not trying to get married or pregnant earlier, because again, I didn't want a deadbeat father, and I didn't want to be a single mom struggling. And even though I'm a late bloomer and I waited a little bit, but at least I'm married, and now that my husband and I are trying, that we're trying together, obviously, that once we do get pregnant, that our child will have a stable, two loving parents in one home. You know what I mean? Opposed to me just wanted to get married right away and start a family right away because society is telling me to, and then it wouldn't work out. I just know it wouldn't work out. And on top of that, I wasn't even ready. I wasn't ready, to be honest with you. I wasn't ready. I wanted to have fun and have a good old time And the last thing I was thinking about, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, even 25, to get married and have kids. I didn't want to do that. I was not even thinking about that. All I was thinking about is fun, figuring my life out, figure out what kind of job I'm going to do, figure out a career, how to make money, how to save money, make sure that I'm okay financially and mentally and physically before I can take care of another human being. You get what I'm saying? And that was just me. Everyone is different. A lot of people got married young and raised their children very well, very successfully, and it worked out for them. But like I said, we're living in a different time now that a lot of things are different. Okay? But I would love for you to comment and let me know what you think. Should men pay on the first date? Should they pay or should you split the check? Let me know. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Thank you so much, you guys, for watching. That's it. And I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend and talk to you later.